You're walking through an auto show, passing by the usual suspects, when suddenly you freeze. Your brain does a double take. Is that really a Corolla? Because what you're staring at looks more like it belongs on a racetrack than in your neighbor's driveway. Yeah, that's exactly what just happened to me here in Tokyo, and I'm still processing it. The world's most practical, reliable, let's be honest, sometimes boring family sedan just got a complete makeover. And I'm not talking about a new paint job or some updated headlights. I'm talking about a full-blown transformation that makes it look like it's ready to star in the next action movie. So buckle up, because what's coming in 2027 is going to blow your mind. Let me set the scene for you. We're at the Japan Mobility Show, surrounded by concepts and prototypes, but this one right here is getting all the attention. And for good reason. Remember when everyone thought the Prius was just that weird eco-box your environmentally conscious aunt drove? Then it suddenly showed up looking like it had been hitting the gym and hired a personal stylist. Same energy here, except this time it's happening to the car that literally millions of people drive every single day. So what's the first thing that jumps out at you? The design. And I mean, wow. This thing has gone from sensible sedan to something that genuinely turns heads. The front end is incredibly sleek, and you can tell the designers were obsessed with aerodynamics. There's this light strip that runs completely across the front, giving it that premium, high-end vibe. It's got that signature look you'd normally see on luxury brands, really dramatic lighting that makes a statement even when the car's just sitting still. Now let's talk about these wheels for a second. 21 inches. Yeah, you heard that right. Will the actual production version come with wheels as massive? Probably not for the base model. But even if they scale it down slightly, the overall stance is aggressive and planted. This isn't your grandfather's Corolla anymore. And check out this roofline. It's got this floating effect going on, with separate glass sections that create a really unique visual. The whole silhouette screams performance, even though we know this is still fundamentally a practical family car underneath all that styling drama. Here's the thing, though. This matters to more people than you might think. For years, the Corolla has been duking it out with models like the RAV4 for the title of world's best-selling vehicle. Sometimes it wins, sometimes it doesn't, but either way, we're talking about a car that literally shapes how millions of people experience driving. So when a vehicle this popular gets reimagined, it's kind of a big deal. But the exterior is just the beginning. Because here's where things get really interesting. Toyota is doing something pretty bold with the powertrain options, and honestly, it might be the smartest move they could make right now. Think about the current state of the automotive world for a minute. It's chaos, right? Some manufacturers went all in on electric vehicles, assuming everyone would make the switch overnight. Surprise, that didn't happen as fast as predicted. Now they are scrambling to backtrack and offer more variety. Other brands are flip-flopping between dedicated platforms and flexible architectures, trying to figure out what customers actually want. It's like watching everyone try to predict the future while blindfolded. Toyota looked at this mess and said, you know what? Let's give people options. Real options. So this new Corolla is going to launch with 4 completely different powertrains, all built on the same platform. Yeah, 4. Let that sink in for a moment. Option 1 is a traditional internal combustion engine. Because let's face it, in many parts of the world, that's still the most practical choice. Not everyone lives somewhere with charging stations on every corner. Option 2 is their famous hybrid system, the one they've been perfecting for decades. The one that's basically bulletproof at this point. Silent city driving with the efficiency everyone loves. Option 3 steps it up with a plug-in hybrid. You get the electric range for your daily commute, but you've still got that engine as a backup for longer trips. Best of both worlds, right? And option 4 goes full electric. 100% battery power for those who have the infrastructure and want zero local emissions. All 4 versions. Same car, same platform. That's actually pretty impressive when you think about the engineering challenge involved. It's like designing a house that works equally well whether you power it with solar panels, natural gas, electricity, or some combination of all 3. The reason this approach makes sense is simple. The market is all over the place right now. I've been walking around Tokyo for the past few days, and you know what I've noticed? Barely any pure electric vehicles on the road. Maybe spotted a couple of Teslas, a few Japanese EVs. But that's it. The streets are dominated by hybrids. And it makes sense here. City driving, lots of traffic, relatively short distances. Hybrids run silent in the city, using mostly electric mode at low speeds, cutting down emissions where it matters most. But here's what surprised me. Tokyo would actually be perfect for pure EVs too. You've got dense urban infrastructure, relatively low highway speeds, lots of stop-and-go traffic where EVs excel. Yet people still prefer hybrids. That tells you something about consumer confidence in charging infrastructure and range anxiety, even in a major metropolitan area. So giving customers the freedom to choose their powertrain, that's not just smart marketing. It's acknowledging reality. Different people have different needs, different circumstances, different infrastructure where they live. One size doesn't fit all. Now, let's walk around to the back of this concept. The rear design is just as bold as the front. You've got another light strip, though it's got this split design that's a bit different. Big, bold lettering spelling out Corolla across the back. No hiding what this is. And honestly, the whole rear end has these aggressive, muscular lines that remind me more of a sports coupe than a compact sedan. Some people are saying it looks like it borrowed styling cues from the GR Supra. And you know what? I can see it. Those wheel arches are seriously pumped up. Super dramatic proportions. But then again, look at something like the CHR. That's already in production, and it's got some pretty wild styling too. So maybe dramatic design is just a new normal for this brand. The wheels, again, 21 inches, all black with aerodynamic optimizations built in. Whether this exact spec makes it to production is anyone's guess, but the overall aesthetic is striking enough that even a slightly toned-down version would still look fantastic. Peering through the glass, you can catch glimpses of the interior. The rear seats have this sporty, almost bucket seat design. You can see how they wrap around the occupants a bit. Meanwhile, up front, they're going for this open lounge concept. There's a large display for the passenger. This is especially popular in Asian markets where passenger entertainment is a big deal. The center area has what looks like a tablet-style screen. Maybe it's removable for other uses, like taking it on a picnic or something. That would be a nice touch. The steering wheel and seats look properly sporty. Those headrests in particular seem designed to cradle you during spirited driving. One interesting detail is how different the driver and passenger areas are. There's clear separation between the two sides, creating distinct zones. Someone tried to open the door while we were filming, but obviously it's locked up tight. This is still a show car. After all, the steering wheel has a sporty design with integrated controls. Though I will say, they appear to be capacitive buttons, which personally, I'm not the biggest fan of. Give me tactile feedback any day. But that's a minor quibble. The seat and mirror controls are positioned on separate columns next to the steering wheel on both sides. Interesting ergonomic choice. And looking up, you can see the housing for what's likely a head-up display system. So they're definitely thinking about modern driver assistance and information display. Here's something curious about the glass roof situation. From the outside, you might think it's a continuous panoramic roof all the way back. But actually, the glass only extends partway. The front section is all glass, similar to how some vehicles have that dramatic wraparound windscreen effect. But then it transitions to a solid panel in the rear. From inside, there's a thin sealing treatment back there. Will the production version extend the glass further back? Maybe. But this design choice might actually be intentional. Rear passengers might appreciate having a more enclosed, intimate space rather than feeling completely exposed under a full glass roof. Plus, it helps with climate control and privacy. Another detail worth mentioning is the charging setup on this particular concept. It appears to be either the full electric version or possibly the plug-in hybrid. What's really interesting is that there are charging ports on both sides of the vehicle. You don't see that very often. Both sides have the charging indicator lights and flaps. That's a thoughtful touch that makes charging more convenient no matter which side of the charger you pull up to. Taking another look at the rear seating area, you'll notice the lower section is covered in fabric rather than leather or synthetic materials. This is actually a smart choice for breathability and comfort, especially in hot weather. Fabric doesn't heat up the same way other materials do, making it more comfortable for passengers. The footwell has some nice ambient lighting integrated in. It's those little touches that make a car feel premium. And check this out, USB-C charging ports built right into the back of the front seats. Because of course everyone needs to keep their devices charged these days. It's not a luxury feature anymore, it's basically essential. From this angle, you can really see how the panoramic glass extends in the front section but ends before the rear seats. The split is pretty clear once you know what you're looking for. Looking around at the crowd here, the interest level is absolutely insane. People are packed in, trying to get a better view. And sure, there are plenty of fancy concept vehicles and luxury models scattered throughout this show. There are new van concepts for commercial use, updated versions of popular utility vehicles, all kinds of interesting stuff. But this Corolla is drawing massive attention. Maybe it's because vans and luxury concepts are cool, but they are not what most people will actually drive. I've always been more interested in vehicles that exist in the real world, the ones people buy in huge numbers, the ones that actually shape our daily transportation landscape. And the Corolla? That's definitely one of those vehicles. There's also some interesting brand strategy happening in the background. Toyota is reportedly planning to elevate their Century nameplate into a standalone ultra-luxury brand, positioning it above even Lexus. Meanwhile, Lexus would shift more into premium mainstream territory, and Toyota itself would continue focusing on what they do best, making cars for everyday people. Practical, reliable transportation that anyone can afford. They are also showcasing various mobility concepts here at the show. Commercial transport solutions with cargo beds in different configurations. Lots of interesting ideas for how vehicles might evolve to meet different needs beyond just personal transportation. Design-wise, I think this new Corolla looks fantastic. But there's one potential concern with this low, sleek roofline. Because obviously, when you lower the roof, you potentially lose headroom inside. So what do manufacturers do? They often install fixed glass roofs as standard. This allows them to claim they've achieved that sleek profile and better aerodynamics, while the thin glass roof structure actually gives back some of that lost headspace. The trade-off? Fixed glass roofs let in a ton of sunlight. Even with UV filtering coatings and treatments, cars with glass roofs almost always run hotter than those with solid roofs. It's just physics. Sure, the greenhouse effect gives you a feeling of openness and plenty of natural light, but on a hot summer day, your air conditioning system has to work overtime. There are definitely pros and cons to consider. We'll absolutely keep you posted on developments with this new Corolla as more information becomes available. One thing I've noticed over the past 5 years or so is that concept cars are staying much truer to their original designs when they reach production. It used to be that concept vehicles were pure fantasy, totally different from what you could actually buy. But lately, what you see at auto shows is pretty close to what rolls off the assembly line. Sure, there will be some compromises. The side mirrors will probably be more conventional and larger for safety regulations. Those tiny camera-style mirrors you see on this concept might not make the cut. The wheels might shrink an inch or two. Some of the more extreme aerodynamic elements might get toned down slightly. But overall, I'd bet this design language is pretty close to what we'll see in showrooms in 2027. The fundamental proportions, the aggressive stance, that dramatic lighting, the overall vibe, that's probably staying. So here's what it comes down to. Toyota is taking their most popular, most ubiquitous vehicle and completely reimagining it for a new era. They are keeping the practicality and reliability that made it a global bestseller, but they are wrapping it in styling that finally gives it some emotional appeal. And they are offering powertrain flexibility that lets customers choose what works best for their individual circumstances. Will it work? Will people embrace a Corolla that looks this aggressive? Will the multi-powertrain strategy pay off? Or will it be too complex to execute profitably? Those are legitimate questions. But if you'd asked me 5 years ago whether people would get excited about a Sparta-looking Prius, I would have laughed. And look what happened there. The automotive landscape is changing rapidly. Customer expectations are evolving. What people want from their vehicles is different than it was even a few years ago. Design matters more. Technology integration matters more. Having options matters more. And Toyota seems to have recognized all of that with this new direction. Personally, I think it's a bold move that could really pay off. Taking a vehicle that sells in massive numbers and giving it this much personality could attract a whole new audience while keeping existing customers happy with the reliability and practicality they expect. One more look at those 21-inch wheels, all blacked out with aerodynamic details integrated throughout. Even if the production version comes with slightly smaller wheels, this aggressive stance is killer. As we wrap up our time with this concept, there's definitely a lot to process. The design is clearly targeting a younger, more style-conscious buyer. The multiple powertrain options acknowledge that the transition to electric vehicles isn't happening on the same timeline everywhere. And the overall package suggests that Toyota isn't content to just rest on the Corolla's reputation as a dependable commuter car. So what's your take on all this? Does a Corolla that looks like it's ready to hit a racetrack appeal to you? Which powertrain option would you choose if you were buying one? The traditional engine for maximum simplicity? The hybrid for efficiency? The plug-in for electric range with gas backup? Or would you go full electric if the infrastructure is there? And more broadly, does this aggressive styling direction work for a vehicle that's historically been about practical transportation? Or are you in the camp that thinks the old conservative design was just fine? These are the conversations that matter because this vehicle will genuinely impact millions of drivers around the world. We're talking about one of the most significant nameplates in automotive history getting a complete reinvention. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let me know which version you'd want and whether this design resonates with you. And definitely stick around because we've got more coverage coming from the Japan Mobility Show with plenty of other interesting reveals and concepts to explore. The automotive world is in the middle of a massive transformation, and seeing how established brands adapt their most popular vehicles gives us a glimpse into where things are heading. This Corolla concept might just be one of the most important vehicles at this entire show, not because it's the flashiest or most expensive, but because it represents how mainstream transportation is evolving. Thanks for riding along on this first look. Make sure you're following for more updates as we learn more about when this arrives in production form and what the final specifications will be. Because if this is anywhere close to what we'll actually be able to buy in 2027, the compact sedan segment is about to get a whole lot more interesting. Catch you in the next one.